Welcome to Rapid Retro Reviews, where we go back in the day to play some old school bangers and failures. With the recent announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2 and Mario Kart 9, I got the urge to play a racing game. Start your engines as we jump into the Atari Jaguar's 1994 title, Checkered Flag. You're probably wondering, how did I end up choosing this game to play after seeing Mario Kart 9 footage? Well, my Jaguar was hooked up, and this game had been sitting on my shelf for a few years, so I guess you could say I was curious. Just by watching the 30 seconds of gameplay I've shown so far, you don't need me to tell you that this game sucks. Just look at it. Fuck this. I don't want to play this.
Stop crying. It won't do any good. And anyway, you have a lot of work to do, starting right now.
The first thing that I have to mention is that if you leave the title screen up long enough, the credits will start scrolling instead of showing gameplay like most games. It's almost like they're hiding something, or that they realize that no one would ever play the game long enough to get to an endgame credit scroll. Moving on, you'll select a few settings such as the color of your car, the weather, and the track you'll be racing on. There's actually a decent number of colors and tracks to select from. What the hell are drones? A drone racing game? Now that would be cool. It's actually the number of other cars you'll be racing against. Getting into the racing gameplay, let's start with something nice to say. The car is actually pretty responsive to the D-pad and it controls fairly well. In general, I actually really like the Atari Jaguar D-pad, although it's honestly the only good aspect of the controller. After finishing playing the game, I actually had to apologize to my monitor. These are some of the most atrocious visuals I've ever laid my eyes on. It looks like someone just put things together using children's building blocks. Look at those trees. That airplane looks really realistic. The tires of the cars aren't even circular. The developers can't even make a fucking circle. Everything is just a polygonial pile of shit. The best part of all this, though, is the frame rate. Everything is so choppy and the game is running at less than 5 frames per second. Combine this with those graphics and you're in for one nauseating experience. I actually was starting to get motion sick at one point, especially when making a lot of turns at a high speed. Imagine that, a video game that makes you car sick. Unless you want to puke all over your controller, don't even think of changing the perspective to first-person mode. You're just asking for trouble at that point. There's also a rain mechanic that's just black streaks going down the screen. Very innovative. Now that I've completely beat that point to death, let's talk about some of the other aspects of Checkered Flag. There's a tournament mode in which you can go through a series of races to earn points competing for first place. Each race is 10 to 15 laps and takes forever to complete. How about like 3 to 5 laps? That seems more reasonable. You can change to however many laps you want for a single race, but for the tournament races, you're locked into 10 or more depending on the track. Try looking at the screen for a 15-lap race. Not only does it hurt your eyes and make you sick, but it's fucking boring. It drags on, and on, and on. This one race alone took 7.5 minutes to complete, so what are there, like 3 races per tournament or something? No, there's 6. 6 races. Son of a... There is background music to listen to while you're driving, but it's nothing special. Just a short loop of stock music. Compare this to a game like F-Zero that was released 4 years prior, and it's not even close. The music in that game makes you feel like you're in this intense race with high stakes, while here I feel like I'm waiting at the doctor's office to get my ass checked. Towards the end of a race, there is a little bit of fun tension as you're fighting for that number 1 spot, but isn't that true about every other racing game ever to exist? If you're able to make it to the top 3 podium, don't get your hopes up. There's no awards ceremony or trophy for winning. The game just puts you right back into the select screen for the next race. Yes, because I would love to play some more after playing 6 15-lap races. The last thing I have to mention is that the game is called Checkered Flag, and I don't see a checkered flag anywhere besides the cover art and the title screen. I just picture some asshole CEO pushing the developers to shit this game out as fast as possible. Sir, we haven't finished making the checkered flag animation for when a player finishes the race. Well, can you put a solid yellow flag in the background? Well, yes, but that's not release it. Now, we're not done yet because there's another Checkered Flag game that was released 3 years prior on the Atari Lynx. Let's see how this compares to the amazing experience we just had on the Jaguar. Similar to the Jaguar, you select your race settings and get right into it. The transition screen is a checkered flag pattern, so that's pretty creative, I guess. There's also someone waving a flag at the start of the race. Nice. There's really not too much to comment on here. It's just a standard racing game. The visuals don't look too bad, and the racing gameplay kind of reminds me of Pole Position. You can actually see the cars behind you in the side mirrors. That's kind of cool. There's even an awards ceremony this time around, and you get a girl. If you want to, you can link up with 5 of your friends using the Lynx up cable. Let me see if any of my friends want to play. Hey, do you want to play Checkered Flag with me on the Atari Lynx? My rating of Checkered Flag on the Lynx is a 5 out of 10. It's a basic racing game, but it's really nothing to get too excited over. My rating of Checkered Flag on the Atari Jaguar is a 2 out of 10. The only reason it's not a 1 is because the car actually controls decently. Other than that, there's close to nothing good this game has to offer, and if you're an owner of the Jaguar, you should stay far away from this one. It makes me wonder, are there any good racing games on this console? Oh, Atari carts, that sounds kinda cool. Oh my god! Thanks for watching this episode of Rapid Retro Reviews. If you enjoyed, please be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button to join the Nasty Nation. I'll see you guys on the next one.